Yes.
Yes.
We are live.
Okay, so for the folks at home, we opened our meeting at 5:30, went into executive session, took a brief recess, and now we're going back into our regular order of business with item 2, citizens' time. We have,
Mr. Long?
Yes, Jason Long, 12 Parker Lane.
to address us. Feel free.
Sure, thanks for your time, I appreciate it. I would just like to bring to issue the proposed sewer line of phase 1, 3, and 5. I sent an email today, I'm not sure if some of you read it. I won't get into that right here, right now, you understand my stance. Really what I want to talk about is the encroachment of my well, my septic tank, going through the whole entire property. You know, I'm not sure of the intent of the project, considering days like today, tying into, you know, existing sewer systems, and every time we're gonna go flush today, it's in the river. So that's another concern of mine, but for now, it's my personal property, that I'm extremely concerned about. I have 2 wells on my property that are in use that will also be encroached upon, with the proposed line. So really what I'd like to ask is a motion for a site visit with Woodard and Coran, or the project manager if they're the ones who own it, someone from the sewer commission, and the town engineer, so that we can go and see this in person.
Kat, did you respond to him?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
So I let him know that the January 25th meeting minutes were not regarding his property, they were regarding a Phase 1 East parcel, when you were looking at siting the pump station over there, another
Correct.
part of town.
Yeah.
And then I let him know that you had invited him to a meeting anytime to talk about the project, maybe answer any questions or concerns. We typically have our engineers here from Woodard and Curran, so that way if he had concerns. So he
So-
came this evening.
Yeah,
So-
I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it, I just came straight
Well,
from work.
that's okay.
So we
Mike,
were talking about something up on, off of Christine. Those were-
Yeah.
Correct,
Yes.
yes.
Sunset
Yeah,
Park.
we were
Yeah.
in a different
we
area
were-
of town.
but the minutes were wrong.
No,
So
no, the
we-
minutes weren't wrong.
No, they weren't?
No, they just
No.
didn't mention a street, so it could have been taken either
Yeah, we
way.
didn't-
I went
Oh,
back
okay.
and watched the
I
actual
gotcha.
video.
We knew what we were talking about, but we
Yeah,
never
but he may not have as a
actually
resident.
I didn't watch your video.
Do
Sorry.
we have, we don't have a drawing on this by chance, right, about Parker Lane or
We have-
conceptual?
We have a really small, like that was from an email, but unless we have the set
We
of
have-
drawings.
I can go grab
yeah,
it,
if
yeah,
you have the
I'll
old
go
by
grab the
17
drawings.
drawings. But the short version is, Parker and Riverbend.
Yeah.
Parker and Riverbend each kind of come towards each other, and then there's 2 parcels that are between the ends of those. So I think you're the more northern one, and then there's the other one to the south. To get Riverbend sewered by gravity down to the Parker pump station, it needs the sewer needs to come through that area. And I think the pipe is currently designed, we're at like a 60% design, which means we have survey, we've put a little bit of effort into it, but there's still a lot of refining of that layout, coordinating with property owners where there are impacts like that, and figuring it out if there's a better route. But it's a matter of, connecting those 2 roads so we can serve that area on gravity sewer. So that was the intent. And have you seen the drawings?
I have,
Or-
yes.
okay, yeah.
I couldn't find them on the new revamped website, which is good. I like the website. It's much easier to navigate.
So, you okay if I highlight these right? Yellow highlight. So the road affected, there's pavement that continues, but I think when you look at the parcel layer, the road effectively comes, I think, to here, and then on this side, it comes to here. So this is 12 Parker here, so getting all of Riverbend to come down by a gravity flow to the pump station, these were the 2 parcels that would have to get crossed, and
Which one is yours?
this,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
right.
12.
Correct, that's 12 right there.
And then this is the difference between 10 and 12. So there's this section on 10 and this section on
Is
12
this the Riverside?
No, the river's
Riverside's over
yeah,
there?
right
Yes.
here.
Yep. So I have where the line, where the street is, or the proposed, from what I saw from a highlight, I know you guys are just getting at it, but I have a well here, a well here. I have my septic system here, and my leach fields here. I have an outhouse here. So there is not 20 feet within anywhere within that rock wall that's not cutting through a lot of stuff on my property. And my concern is my brand new well. That's my biggest concern. I know we do pressure tests, the systems, when we first put them in, but I don't believe we monitor them afterwards for pressure testing, so if some kind of gross leak happened there, I don't think anyone's ever gonna know, and get into my aquifer and leach field, and drinking aquifer potentially.
So,
Can
we-
we get up further?
So part two of it, not gravity fed, sorry, is on top of, Frost Road to come through the backside of it for, I think, all the houses up north
Yeah.
further. And then around my shed, around my garage, the second building that's there, off to the property next to me. That's not I don't have an issue with that at all whatsoever.
And that's part of Frost Road, comes down through the edge of the current larger town parcel, and then it connects in just downstream of your property.
That's one Parker, right. And just, for clarity, there's several other
That would take the
neighbors
house on River Road off, right? Or off that Riverbend?
off of Riverbend potentially. I'm not sure.
So you lose all those houses on Riverbend, you wouldn't have storage.
Oh, yeah. So we could serve Frost Road using that current route, but yes, if you didn't cut through these two parcels, you lose Riverbend.
About 20 houses.
how far is it if it went the other direction?
Well, they would have to
That's
pump
it'd
it.
be too far, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have to put a pump station. I forget, the topography, I feel like you'd end up with a pump station kind of
In my
at
yard.
the end, at the end of your property.
There's already one there, down the end of the road too.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty flat, the whole area's flat, so you could probably put a pump station wherever, but you'd need a pump.
So, I'm just
I
looking
don't know
at
if there's any town parcels up on that end,
You'd have to look at that,
yeah.
go skirt,
it. So,
go around his property
so,
on the other
I
side.
mean, conceptually, right, it would be, except for the wells, if we went through where the septic is, right?
The leach field, yeah.
And tied into sewer, but you couldn't do that right away.
So I'm gonna be very clear, I do not want to be tied into a city sewer system. I personally cannot contribute to further polluting the river and the environment. It's my backyard, I live on it, I boat on it. I know it's downstream, I think it's disgusting that we keep doing it as,
Well, it's
As-
not,
as
it's
people-
not us, you know that, right?
it's all, I understand, but we're all part of it, this is adding to it. So that's, personally, I can't live with that, it's just not me, I want my son to live up in a clean environment and inherit a cleaner river. And the cost of it, I know some people who are en route, you guys work out, hey, whatever, hook up for free, whatever, for whatever, but, the $4,000, if someone takes that over the 20 years, it costs $8,000. I pump my septic system once every 4 years for $350. And I don't have a monthly sewer bill also, which is what I don't want either. Cost effective for me, it's not at all. My septic's in great shape. So that's my position on it anyway, so.
Well, let's look at it, and we can see if we can figure something else out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, certainly a site visit as the first step to see what the concerns are, see if there's any route that, it works better for you. And go through those logistics, yeah. Yep.
Other, the folks that I had requested available to do something like that, those three parties, or is it a person, or?
Well, I don't think there's any rush, cause we're certainly not putting pipe in the ground tomorrow.
Sure.
It's gonna be a long time.
Understand, and I understand this is still in the planning phase,
Yeah.
and it still needs
No,
to
but
go
this
to a
is-
town
this is good.
vote, so.
This is good, so something like this we can look at and maybe redesign it so that it works in everybody's benefit.
Sure.
That's all. So let's do that, and let's, and we'll go from there, we'll see what we can come up with.
Great. All right, thank you, won't keep you any longer, appreciate the time.
Yep.
Any
And
questions
Well,
for me at all, or?
Contact.
do you wanna leave contact?
Would you rather do the thing sooner than later? Do it-
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but yeah, I think in the next month or so would be fine, yeah.
Yeah, let the weather get a little better.
Yeah.
Have everything
Hey.
dry out.
Spring is here.
Spring.
It's gonna end.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is my card. You
Great.
can reach me anytime.
great, appreciate it, thank you.
But yeah, we can set something up in the next few weeks and
Whatever, I'll make myself available, I have, free reign of my schedule, so,
okay.
great. Thank you very much.
So if
Okay,
you want,
thank
if you wanted me to go, I would go, be looking at maybe Friday.
Okay.
I'm coming up on my Fridays.
We all.
Thank you. Have a good
All right,
evening.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else on citizens' time? Hearing and seeing none. New business, the topic the chair did not reasonably anticipate would be discussed.
I don't have anything there, no.
FY 25 contract extensions.
Okay.
Oh, that's the,
Yep, so at the last meeting, Fred, you weren't here, but, as you know, we have several vendors, Action King, Sherbon, Weston Sampson, and Al LeBlanc, that we had, went out to bid, procured, got contracts, and those were done, the first year was through fiscal '23, and there were 2 one-year extension options. You opted to do fiscal '24, and now I'm just asking if you'd like to opt for fiscal '25 as well, and that would begin July 1st. So Darryl and Brian had asked for me to put together, what you guys have been charged to date for each of those vendors. So I did that and I emailed it to them, as well as the contracts. I emailed it to all of you, actually. Did you guys get a chance to look at that?
I looked at it, I'm trying to find it right now.
Okay, so I have, I do have that here, that's for each of the vendors, and then I have a copy of the contracts that have all their rate sheets too, if you guys wanna take a look at those. I did email those as well, so I don't know if you've had a chance to already look at it or not, but if you need to, I have them here.
Alright, so,
These are all of the, let's see,
oh yeah, this is what you sent us, right?
yes,
Okay,
this is
so
all
we-
what I've sent you, is
Which
the
is what I'm
rate sheets.
looking at right now, I found it.
Okay, the rate
So-
sheets are attached that,
My question is Woodland and Curran.
so Woodard and Curran,
What's on that?
includes everything from
What's
general
on that?
services, a lot of that is the
I
design,
understand what that is.
Oh, I see. It's everything.
everything's, yeah, cause it pulls it up by vendor,
But,
and I subtracted out the toll, like the toll road.
but my question was, Weston and Sampson, it seems to be, everybody else seems fine.
Yep, so
Weston and Sampson seems pricey, but I understand there was a couple of pump upgrades.
these are the I track them
So-
every time they go out,
Yeah,
so
so
that will
out of-
explain every visit and what it was, where it was at.
Out of that 63, 43 of that for the upgrade for Sequoia. And then another 6,000 was for the valves at Willowdale. So that brings you down to 15.
Yeah, cause that was that big upgrade that happened
There's
this
some
year.
upgrades to the pump stations that were, that were scheduled, except for Willowdale, that was unforeseen with the valves.
And this is the one for Chabon in this current fiscal year. We just said it.
Shorebond, we had a lot of generator repairs with the radiators and the water pumps.
So Paul, Kathy, you guys happy with these folks?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean,
They're on time, responsive, but
Hey, I wanna make a suggestion, but I'll do it after.
okay, and those tracking sheets were for my own benefit for when I need to collect prevailing wage sheets from them all.
Yeah.
So I like to make sure I have them for the job and then that they're matching the invoices. But it was a good tool to show you you can see a breakdown of what they were charged for.
Well, what's in the sense, we don't get charged for
Unless we
the
call.
weekends unless there's a.
Unless they come out.
Correct, that's correct, yeah, unless they come out,
Unless we call 'em.
yeah.
I thought the pump stations called them directly on the weekends.
They do. But I also, if I don't put them on call, I use the phones and I'll give a call, depending on the severity of the problem. Sometimes it's just a matter of flicking a switch.
Alright, let's, did you see these, Fred?
Yeah, I looked at it.
The difference. Killing us with color. Alright. So we'll agree here.
What's that?
Say, what do we wanna do? Do we wanna extend them, not
I'd say we might as well extend them for one more year
yeah, I don't know.
and then put it out the bid.
Now that I understand what happened with it,
Yeah.
but we probably should look at that other one for next year too.
Which one?
What
The
other one?
in Connery.
Yeah, that's kinda shady.
When did we send that one out to bid? Was it 2 years ago?
Which one?
Was
Yeah, it was at the same
This is the third
time.
year of the contract,
It was
right?
at
So
the
next
same
year-
time.
This will be the third.
They're in the same boat as everybody else, so you have one more year that you
Yeah.
could extend it through fiscal '25.
Okay.
So why did we do it that way and not just do a 3-year contract?
I'm not, I think, my guess is, Colin wanted to give you all the opportunity to make sure you were happy with the vendors and not get locked into a 3-year contract.
Okay.
This way, if
That
you
makes
chose,
And the highway department does a lot of it, like the catch basins and all that, that's a yearly with
An
the
option.
option of extending
Yeah.
it.
that way if you
Yeah, they're
weren't
getting
happy
good
with the service,
service and
you could get out of
Price isn't
that.
bad, you know, it's.
Yeah,
All right, so I guess we'll, entertain a motion to.
Make a motion to extend it for one more year,
What is it called?
service contract.
No, service contract, all service contracts, right?
yep,
We have a service contract. That's these, right?
yeah, do you
that's
want,
the
do you
dope.
want to name them, or, I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, we probably should, so,
Okay. The numbers of the contracts are at the top,
so I think we've just put Action King, right?
okay, yep,
LeBlanc, Sherborne,
Samson?
no, this is Sherborne again, is that the same one too?
they had, one was for pump purchases, is through Chabon, they won that one, and the other one was for generator call-outs.
Alright, so Sherborne twice, and then Weston and Sampson,
Skip that.
and skip the last one.
Okay,
Alright, cool.
I will let Colin know.
Alright, so motion, is there a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Anyone seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Alright. Asset management plan, do we have to have one?
So you had all spoke about this, Jack brought that up at the last meeting, and you said you wanted to talk about it when Fred was here, to see, do you wanna do an asset management plan? If so, what are the costs, are we budgeting, and all that. So I think you just wanted to wait for Fred to be part of the conversation.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about something similar
You-
to do with the trucks, right, for pumps, is that what we were talking about?
More generators, I think, was
Oh,
the
yeah,
discussion for that.
Yeah, there was that
But
discussion as
then,
well.
You guys have somebody that does asset management tracking or?
Yeah, so we have, like an asset management expert person, but, through Mass DEP, they have an asset management grant program, and they fund 60% of the development of asset management plans. So I know I have a handful of clients each year doing that, and many years ago, when you got your first SRF loan, you had to do a you had to have a fiscal sustainability plan, which is kind of like a streamlined asset management plan. So, which is just a series of spreadsheets, which Rosemary worked with Kathy on, so
Yeah.
you were all set with that. But the asset management plan takes it a step further, and you look at all of your you inventory all the assets, look at the values, look at the lifespans, how much money needs to be put in to replace it and upkeep it and everything, and then you develop a capital improvement program, extending out, say, 20 years, so you can plan for it all. So it just gives a whole lot more structure to like what you were thinking of doing, and it's an option of, or you have the ability to get the grant to help fund the cost of it. So I think a lot of those plans are, depending on how big it is, they're running from $50,000 to $150,000. I think some go over 200,000, but for just a sewer collection system and pump stations, it's in that range, and it's a 60% paid for by the state, a 60% grant reimbursement. So that's just one way, or you can just kind of track it, but it was just, that's looking at all of your assets, from pumps, valves get in there, pipes, everything.
So today, we kinda do it informally between you two. You basically, when it comes budget time, you say, okay, Willowdale, it's gonna need a pump this year, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Sound right?
Yes,
And we put it in the budget.
yep.
Some unforeseen stuff comes up, but you can't really do much about that.
Yeah, but we don't really do anything about generators, correct?
Correct, and also about, the actual infrastructure of the ground, like the pipes, like we're not saying, okay, the pipes on Lakeview Ave are 30 years old, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? We're not looking to that extent, it's more like a project for a pump station usually upgrade,
Yeah.
or like we were talking about generators, but, it's not detailed, as far as,
Yeah,
You know,
well, that's, the
a lot of
I-9
places
the I-9 is
do.
for that,
They
they
might have.
inspect the pipes.
So,
yeah.
if we did do that, we went the grant, right? When we have the 40, it's only gonna be 60%, right?
Correct,
So
so.
where are we getting 40%?
So that's what I wanna ask you, because I would need, after the last meeting, I updated the fiscal 25 budget to put in the 20% match on the grant we just got for the II capacity. So if there is any last minute things you need budget in fiscal 25, tonight's really your last, because I need to get the warrant article to Colin early next week. So I know whether you wanted to budget for generators, or, the transfer switches, or any of that, now's really the time to tell me, and we need to budget for it.
Well, do we have transfer switches in stock? Or
No.
can we get them readily?
We can get them pretty fast, within weeks, so.
That's really not good.
But the things that we need to, we just talked, me and Kathy were talking about today is the quick disconnects that you, wanted to get prices for, I got one came in today, and that came in at 19 grand. So,
So you pull the other generator up?
right, so we pull it up, plug it in, so they did it at the Scuppet Trail, one of my biggest pump stations, so they gotta put in safety switches. They gotta make it safe for the individual to transfer the portable generator to the, to the station.
So
I gotta-
otherwise you gotta call electrician to come in.
Yes,
and
they
wire
have to
that.
come out and they have to do it, so. And the generators, we're gonna have to talk about the Progress Ave pump station's generator. That we started it up, we did our due diligence this whole last 2 weeks. We ran it, we started it 27 times in 11-day span, and 10 of those times it failed. So it's 30-year-old generator, so we sink money into the boards, which we already replaced 3 boards.
Does that exercise on its own?
No, we exercise them every Wednesday, so.
Well, I thought the one at least Elm Street, I thought it just goes on its own.
Well, if that goes on its own, it's because there's a phase problem.
No,
Straight.
I thought it could be
No.
Wednesday, I thought it.
No, that's either Dougie or
Maybe,
it's Todd.
maybe that's the one at work.
Yeah, I mean, the conversation started because we were going through Bill's last meeting and the generator over there at Progress.
Yes, that was-
It's like we're just sinking money in some of these, it's
Yes,
not worth.
so I had
And
Sherburne go out there, a couple weeks ago, to do a deep dive into it. And John, he couldn't find anything wrong with it. So he started it up that day and ran. Then we went back 2 days later, started up, it didn't run.
You don't know.
So,
That's right.
and then we were going back every day, starting it twice a day, periodically, different times of the day. It started, it didn't start, it started, it didn't start, so it's not a very reliable generator. I did get a price sheet today for a brand new one, that came in at this price right here. Here's the generator specs.
And the lead time?
Lead time for this one right now, if I tell him tomorrow morning, I want that generator, it will be here beginning of March. Cause there's one in stock, nobody's ordered it yet, but that doesn't mean they're gonna order it tomorrow, it depends. But,
Beginning
if
of when?
Hmm?
He's saying they actually have one available.
yes, I have one available.
Okay, not the beginning of March. I thought you said
I mean,
beginning
yeah,
of March, okay.
beginning of-
Cause some are a year out.
Oh, well, I was,
Yeah,
I
they're
was gonna say
typically
a
a
year,
year.
yeah.
I thought, when you said
So-
March, I thought March of next year.
Me
The
too.
one for my
No.
building is almost a
End of
year out.
April, beginning of May.
Yeah,
But
we
if
just
somebody
went-
buys that one,
Yeah, I'll
then
have to
you're
wait
12.
12
Just
to
wait a whole
14
year.
weeks.
What kind of generator?
A Waco.
Cause that was the other thing, if we do this, we were talking informally more of doing it like we did the truck, put a certain amount of money aside every year and do a generator or two, whatever we
Right.
can afford to do, and just go through the whole line
Yes.
for the next 6, 7 years.
The ones that need to be changed.
They need to be changed, and by that time, the ones that are half-baked are probably gonna need to get changed then anyway. But standardize on a certain type, so you don't have issues.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
But
Do we
it's-
have all the same right now?
No, we
No,
have
that's the
Onan
thing.
and we have Kohler. We have Cato lights,
Yeah.
which are really old, and, well, one of them's going away anyways, Kohler. But,
So that's the thing, it's,
Yeah, they should all be the
That's important,
same
yeah.
brand.
but that's that brand right there is a General Motors motor, that's what Kohler is, so. All my generators are different sizes, so, but you're looking at availability too.
yeah.
So,
What
if I
size?
tell you you can have a generator in 2 years, just because you wanna have a Kohler, you're gonna have to wait 2 years.
This is 65 kW, is that what the spec says? PSS 65 F4 or something?
But that's one of the generators that we inherited,
Yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah, I'm sure.
And there was 3 others at the same time that were all purchased, and I believe the police department purchased the same one, which that's out of commission now. Highway's gonna be getting rid of theirs, and the fire department just got rid of theirs. So they're all aging out.
So there's two things, it sounds like, there's an immediate need, and then there's a plan for going forward.
And the asset
Well-
management grant is like, it's typically every year, so it runs in line with the SRF program, so you would apply in the summer and kinda go through that cycle.
So the,
What are the chances of you getting it?
They fund most, if not all of them, because that's one of the
And how long
bigger
do they fund
pushes.
it for? Is it just 1 year?
They just fund, they fund the development of the plan, which takes about a year. They're not funding any of the implementation side, that would go through the other
so
construction.
Paul,
fund.
when you run them, right, do you just turn them on, or do you shut the power and see if it kicks over?
Some days we hit the transfer switch and let it cycle, just kill the main.
Yeah.
Some days we just run the generator up to cycle. Once it reaches temperature, we
And
shut it off.
so what's the service guy, the service guy said he doesn't know what's wrong with it, he can't
Yeah,
figure it out?
he can't figure it out, cause he's got it, right now it's all apart, he dug it all apart, so. The only one board we haven't replaced was the motherboard, and that's $2,500.
How old is it now?
It's at least coming up on 30 years old.
He's up in progress.
Progress
How
Ave.
is that, right? Did you have the portable out there recently? You had it
The
somewhere
portable's
recently.
there now, it's been there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but was it there?
It was there before, right?
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
It's been there 3 times already in the last 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need the reliability, you can't have these things not coming on, going on.
The last time it went was when Dana Wallboy, with trees over by Dana went down. I got the AC alarm failure. And an AC alarm failure at a pump station is not good, considering that there's no
So-
lights on.
I'm just thinking, we're talking about budget stuff, right?
Do we have anything in this would be this year, do we have anything in this year left?
So, in the current year's budget, Paul had budgeted for, 2 pumps.
Yep.
And we usually go for the high price pumps, just to be proactive.
Yep.
So there would be money to cover that this year, because the only pump you have coming now is like the $4,000 one,
Yeah,
correct?
it's a 3 horsepower flight, so
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that to come.
Right, provided we
And
don't
you
have an
haven't
issue
bought
with
any
another pump,
larger
right?
No,
ones this
no
year.
larger ones,
So we do in fiscal '24 have money budget in the capital plan for pumps, which could certainly, you could do the generator.
Any excess in case, like, you know, you get 3 more months?
Well, Paul's good about having spare pumps on site,
Yeah,
so
I don't-
God forbid if
yeah.
there was an emergency with a pump, he has a spare.
Pretty much got a spare for everything, this money was set aside.
And we still have money
Except-
left over for
except
another
generators.
pump.
Simple.
Except generators.
Yeah, exactly.
No
Yeah,
spare
well,
generators.
that's just another thing that we gotta work on, that was the next thing in line.
No, it's-
Because when we noticed the water pumps were going, so you're like, oh Jesus, we check all the water pumps, all of a sudden you get 6 generators that the water pumps need to be
Yeah.
replaced, cause they're like flapping in the breeze.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get a radiator leak. You know, then there's another radiator leak, and you're like, oh my God, here
It's
we
just,
go.
it's been a hard year for the
Yes,
generators.
generators have
They're
been
all
hard. Yeah,
kind of
that's
getting hit.
the one thing that you need to start when there's a power, and you know how the power goes out in this town. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten better, but it's still, goes out for 12, 14 hours, depending on the severity of it. The only other
I
thing
mean-
that we got going on at this point in time is, one of the grinders is gonna be put in over at Bridgeview Circle. And that one was, what was that one, Cap, 35?
I believe, I don't have the paperwork on me, but that sounds
Yeah,
about right.
it's about 35,000. And that's gotta go in this physical year.
But that, we were gonna, go under our pump station
Yep,
maintenance line
right,
item.
so,
And we talked last week about, or 2 weeks ago, about, what we had reserved for the truck in this budget. And I thought it was year 3 and we had the 27, but fiscal '25 is year 3. So this year it's 18, just so you know. We do have a line item for 18 this year for the truck, which we're not using. So that's there too.
Well, I
Well,
would,
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was thinking, if we don't touch the truck stuff, cause there's no harm in just leaving that in there. Like you say, you can roll it out, it's
You're rolling
just-
it, right.
It's just a placeholder, right?
Yep,
And, you know, create a new one for, I assume we can do a generator a year, at least. If we target 50 grand, cause they're gonna be different sizes, or are they all?
yeah, they're all gonna be different sizes, different prices.
Depending on the size of the pump
Right.
station and pumps.
The progress is progress.
So if we were to budget, that's, we should just do it for the biggest one.
right.
Yeah, worst case scenario.
And I think the best way to do that, Darryl, would be to put it under your capital line item because of the cost, right? Instead of as part of your regular expense
Sure.
budget, like the additional trucks,
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
it where it should be, cause
Yeah,
then it's
whatever.
right there available, it's not really reserved.
However the bean counters wanna see it, doesn't matter.
We wanna put this out to bid, so we, instead of just one price, we can get a few.
Right, and I think we should standardize what we're gonna buy from here on out.
Yeah.
So figure out what we have the most of.
Yeah, the only thing, to your point, Fred,
Right.
I definitely.
I just wanna see the language in the contract for Siobhan, because you've already put it out, the generator services to bid.
The services, but not new generators.
I know that the other one is for, the pumps, I just wanna see how it's worded. Okay, so the one for the pumps is, this contract is for the procurement and delivery of sewer pumps and pump accessories, would that be considered a pump accessory?
No.
No?
I wouldn't think so.
And then the Sherborne one for the generators is, these services include repairs, regular maintenance, and if necessary, the procurement of new generators. So if you do anything through fiscal '25, we need to go through them because they won the bid already, we've already put this out.
Then why did we get that other bid?
It's through them,
And
they,
that's
they
through
provided the,
them?
yes,
Oh, that's the same company?
they provided the bid
Okay.
to you, right, Sherborne? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
if it's between now and June 30th, 2025, we would need to go through them.
So, my question is, why do, can I see that for a second? Why do we have a bid if we have a contract?
It's just a quote.
That's a price quote.
So we have a
So-
contract.
Mike, that's my point, is why do we need it? They're on agreement for labor, right, and so it would be materials only, right?
It's for our benefit, no,
That's-
so it's for our benefit,
Right.
that they're providing a quote, so we know whether or not we wanna purchase one right now.
I wanna know how much it was gonna cost.
So there's no breakdown though, right?
Is that installed? I didn't read the
That's
rest of it.
installed.
That's done.
That's everything.
Okay.
But my point is the rate that they're gonna, the rates are the same, they're already in it.
Right,
We already know
Yeah.
what the rates are.
that's the price
Right.
for the whole thing.
The labor rates, we know.
Yeah, but they can't quote a generator's all different, right?
Right,
The procurement piece would be whatever we're asking them to procure.
correct,
The
yeah.
generator, we looked up the price of the generator, it's like 33,000, 33.5,
And the rest is
and the rest is labor.
the labor installation.
Installation.
Take out
delivery.
the old, put in the new, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound crazy,
No,
given today's world.
not that it will.
Little area put about the repair people selling us generators.
I just don't wanna say, hey,
Yeah.
Well, that's my point, right, is
No, I know.
we have them on the contract, right, so we should just, it's like, you know, you have an electrician on the contract, he's charging you
Yeah, but
whatever.
so, are you talking for repairs?
Yeah,
To
well,
keep
just,
repairing it?
well, the same with the new generator, right, so we're buying a new generator, if it takes them 5 hours, that's what they charge us, if it takes them 10 hours, that's what they charge us. Is there any upcharge to that? That's my question, because it's a
Yeah,
quote,
I hear what you're saying, yeah, yeah.
you know,
I'm
so.
not- I'm not following.
That's like, if we had no contract with them all, at all, is what it's gonna cost you, but we already have a rate for them to do wiring and all
So
that
you're
stuff
looking
here.
to see the
So if we-
difference,
If we went out and said, here's a generator,
Put it in, if it
put
takes
it
them
in,
10
what's
hours.
it, you know, we have an hourly
They're
rate
charging
for
us for the-
everything.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Do you want
I
us to
agree
ask
with
for a
you,
break-
that's not a bad price.
I don't, if that was crazy, I'd question it, but I don't know if we wanna go back and we need to question
Yeah,
how,
the only reason why we got that price quote is because Kathy wanted to know, we wanted to know how much it was gonna cost us.
to see if we could do it
So I
this
can
year, next
present it
year,
to you.
we could give it to you,
Or I
yeah.
could've just said, hey, guys, we need a new radiator in
So-
progress, put it in,
But this-
generator, put it in.
What do they charge per hour on?
How many we have of this brand?
The new one or the Kohler?
The one that they're quoting us,
None, this is a new one.
so we're gonna go with
so we're gonna have a third brand.
Okay.
Well,
So-
eventually they're gonna start phasing out the Kohlers because they're outdated.
I mean, hopefully, whatever we standardize on, we continue
Yeah.
to, we don't turn into all months again. Next year, we buy a Generac, and then we buy something else.
Right,
So-
well, that's what I'm saying, I agree, you should
Doesn't
keep
make
all the same brand.
In this fiscal year, Daryl, to answer your question, the hourly rate for labor is $110 an hour, and the markup on equipment's 15%. That's built right into the contract, so when they purchase that, they're adding 15% onto it, which is standard, anything we get through Western Stan,
Yeah,
you know, in
everything,
the past.
everybody's the same.
And then the hourly rate's 110. So I'm guessing with that quote, maybe they estimated how many hours, or they know how many hours it takes them to put a,
Oh, yeah, they should have a pretty good,
yeah.
So you got a price of 33 and some change? from-
That's just going online.
Okay, so they're buying that 30% less than that?
Yeah.
And then marking it up, so, yeah.
And-
That
and the
doesn't sound
labor.
bad for a
the numbers
generator.
are right around.
Yeah, it didn't, that's not a shocker for a generator.
How many hours are we putting on these generators per year?
That's a good question. The
That's
only,
why I'm asking you, I don't
yeah,
wanna
well, I
charge.
don't, yeah, I might
Like
be in
progress-
charge, but I
progress
haven't,
would've been three
basically
days.
done it.
When was it, last, whatever? Or 2 days it was out?
Yeah, 12 hours,
More
2
than that,
days,
when I
oh,
built it,
ice
yeah.
storm, 6 hours.
Yeah. That was a
Well,
lot.
that's something I could look into.
Yeah, I think we should get a tracking of all the hours on these generators, I mean, it's, if, for conversation's sake, if we got a generator that is not running the pumps, it's got 100 hours on it, well, that's not much for a diesel engine.
Oh, no.
So it's probably something in the panel
Well,
that's
you-
giving us the trouble.
Yeah, but
Not so much the
sometimes-
generator, when we replace a generator,
Yeah.
did we actually solve the problem yet?
Are most of these diesel, or they're all piped in?
We only have one diesel.
One diesel, yeah.
Yeah, they're all natural gas, right?
Yeah. But,
which one's the diesel?
the Scuppet Trail,
There's no gas over there?
no,
So you'd have to put a propane tank.
but
in there.
sometimes the generators that sit outside, that don't run a lot, tend to decay faster.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got a quote for this, to hook up the generator stuff,
Yep.
for the portable.
So would this new one be in that case where we do that pigtail,
That's for all
whatever
the
it
pump
is?
stations or one pump station?
That's just one at the Scuppet Trail, that's the biggest one. And no, I didn't, that's not included with any of that. This is totally separate.
Yeah. But
Thing.
would we do that there?
We would, yeah, eventually.
How much, any ballpark on
No,
Edna?
I didn't even ask him that one.
Cause it makes sense as we're doing these things to put that infrastructure in to hook up
Right,
the
so it'll
broadband.
increase the cost of the,
Yeah.
that right
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
so.
Would it, if you're only doing them one at a time, whatever, with these transfer
These
switches,
capital
would you
items.
wanna start obviously with the older ones, or would that, I mean, does that make sense to do that?
Yeah, I mean, the next step in my mind, this is, well, I guess this doesn't have to happen overnight, other than if we have to, if we prefer to spend the money by July. But, go through them and just rank them, you know, 1 to 17 or whatever.
Well, that's what I was saying, what do they get for hours on it?
Yeah.
They all should have, hour meters on it.
Right.
So I mean, if we got one that has 1,000 hours and one that has 200 hours, I think we should replace 1,000-hour one first.
And you probably
I
know
go by
just,
age.
yeah, you probably know, just been working on which
Yeah.
ones are the dogs and which ones.
Oh, yeah, Audrey Absent will be next.
Well, you got a question mark here, right? Supply and install
Yeah, the 50-foot
50-foot set
cable.
of, cam lock cables.
Right, 'cause
Do
that
we
basi-
already have some?
We have cable, but we don't have the cam locks. We have a version of the cam locks, they got the open male and female ends, which those cam locks he's talking about, they're sealed, so they can go in and they interlock. Ours got the open ends, so they lock, but you still, I got a bag around them right now, so to keep the weather out, so. Those are just different, so basically wouldn't need a 50-foot cable.
Well, why couldn't we use the same cable and just change the ends?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean, that's why I got a question mark next to it. So,
So as Fred was saying, is this the immediate need, the Progress Ave one to replace, or are there other ones that are
no,
more
this is the immediate one, because this is the one that's not running.
Can't
run.
50% run.
Right.
I don't know, I just have a hard time with, the guy that's supposed to fix it, can't fix it unless he sells a generator for $40.
Well, I don't think they came up with it, I think this was our last discussion. Before this, we saw the repair records and we're like, how much more money we're gonna put into Progress Ave?
Right.
Every time they come out there, it's $2,500 and it's, at some point. But I'm more concerned with reliability. If one thing's spending $2,500 a month, okay, you do that and keep the thing alive, not end of world. But when the thing doesn't run, and you gotta, if that portable's needed somewhere else, what are you gonna do then?
Well, I gotta call him up if he has to bring a
He's gotta
portable.
bring a portable, yeah, it's not a good situation for pump stations. Yeah, a building lights, okay, the lights aren't on, everybody goes home, you're not working. When that thing backs up, that's not good at all. So, I mean, we can wait or, and analyze it more. I'm not saying make a rush decision, but we should at least, if we have money in the budget and that's.
No, I agree, we have money in the budget, we should at least get that one in taken care of, and
then
that will buy us a little time to
And then put a plan
diagnose what we
together.
get with the rest of the stuff, you know.
We should allocate some money for next year.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
Whatever the highest KW one, maybe they can help us with that.
Yeah, so pretty much for the new
So-
pump stations, those are pretty, you know, those are brand new, so.
Yeah, right.
So if we-
you might know the cost
if
of
we
that,
do
right? Would
do
you know the
this,
cost
right?
from, because of the
For-
generators at the Brandon pump
for-
stations?
Big generator?
Yeah. I'm just
I thought
thinking,
they're like over 100.
The bigger ones are, yeah.
We-
The one I
Going
bought,
forward, are we
Progress
gonna go
was-
with this brand on anything we do?
I
Going
would say
forward?
so, yeah.
So,
Well, I think that's something also what we may wanna find out before we do it. See what the largest size is that we're gonna need,
There is
and
supply.
see if this brand makes one that size. Cause if they don't make one, we can't have all the same.
right.
So we gotta make sure the company that we start with makes generators that will accommodate every one of our pump stations. That's the way I see it. I mean, that way there we can, get one brand, and, I mean, cause for the most part, the smaller pump stations are all gonna have pretty much the same motors and everything else in them.
Any thoughts, Jack?
No, I agree, I think that was a good point to, to make sure you don't buy one or two, then find out you can't get it
Right, I
at
mean,
2
we
other
get, this
stations,
brand
but-
A will cover half our pump stations, but with the other half, which are bigger, it won't. So, I mean, we should
Yeah.
find that out, and I think we should also, if we could do it, if we wanna try to do something this year, have Paul make a list of the age and the hours of all the pumps, all the generators that we have existing right now. So at least we'll know what we're looking at, you know, is the next one that we're gonna have to replace a small one, or is it one of the larger ones, you know, so we can plan a little bit that way.
the only thing is for fiscal 25's budget, I would just need to know tonight the amount you wanna put in, if you do wanna put an amount in. And right now, if you just wanted to see, just as a refresher, what we have already budgeted in capital for fiscal '25, we have $1.1 million worth of items. 2 flight pump replacements, which would come to $91,000, the sewer garage portion, final design fees for Phase 1 East, grinder installation for Middlesex and Flint's Corner, Phalanx upgrade design, Phase 3-5 extension, alternate areas for design, and then what we put in last week was the 20% match to the sewer capacity project. So we currently have $1.1 million budgeted in fiscal '25 for capital. And most of those will definitely be used, other than the pump. It depends if we need a pump, if we need those pumps.
Right, cause
But-
basically I'd be buying, pumps, a spare pump for like, Middlesex Road, the homers, which they're already 6-7 years old, and so it's time to have one sitting on the shelf, so.
Although the Phase 3-5 extension, alternate area design, that was $250. I mean, that's really up to you if you want it done in fiscal '25. Phalanx upgrade design could be included in the, if we get that grant, right? But everything
Did
else.
you actually get that in?
Almost all of it. I got the information yesterday morning from these guys. I worked on it all day yesterday and today.
Make a phone call.
And so I'm just gonna like look it over again on Monday. I have a couple of things I need you to sign tonight, and then I'll probably submit it early next week. I wanna see if we can get some support letters. I drafted those today. So, it's just a matter of, they're due next Friday, and I will probably, as soon as I get the support letters back from people, I will probably hopefully submit things by Wednesday or Thursday. But yes, I got the, like, 85% of it done. So,
75, 100, is that too much to put in there? If this one's 43, you want some headroom in case you got something.
He's calling somebody that, he said he can get a price for the large one. And then, so he put a number in somewhere in the middle.
I mean, it doesn't have to be exact, right? We have some.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just a placeholder.
yeah,
We spent 50 or 80.
I mean, the majority of our
better to
pump
budget
stations are
high,
small.
higher than what
Right.
you need.
You know, you get, Audrey, you get, Elm, get the one in Jefferson, those are all small ones, so.
Those pumps don't draw a whole lot, do they?
Right.
There's no lights in the thing.
No.
But the bigger one's just what, the Suffolk and, on the other side.
Willowdale?
Willowdale.
Like if that's a 65 kW.
No, Oldville isn't that big.
No?
No?
No, Muscatine,
Yeah, Muscovix.
I would say Muscatine's probably the biggest.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then,
With the caveat that, the gas generators are usually more expensive, but that Muscovix is diesel, but I think it's probably big, so it's
Yeah.
probably close to 100.
yeah,
That's my guess.
but no, I would say Muscatine's probably the biggest one. And then most of the other larger ones are fairly new pump stations. You know, you get the,
Howell and,
out in the middle, everything on Middlesex Road. You get, well, 1, 2 over there, and then Parker, those 3 there
Brand new. Pretty.
are relatively
Pretty
new,
well new,
yeah.
They're new, it's
in
high.
Flint's Corner, when we did that upgrade a few years back, that was with the wet wells, but we didn't touch the generators over there, I don't
Where's
think.
that?
Flint's Corner?
Yeah,
When we didn't touch the generators, it was just the wet wells, I think, that increasing.
Yeah,
So
generators in the building, yeah.
that one's, I don't know what year that
The,
was.
the only other comment I had was on the generators, just the brand. I know our electrical engineers are very particular, they like certain ones and don't like other ones based on longevity and other things,
Right,
but.
right.
But I know then there's always somebody who likes certain ones, so.
Yeah, it's like, you know,
I mean, you can
somebody
put-
drives a Ford and the other one drives
Yeah,
a Chevy, it's, you know,
You can put a Caterpillar in, it's just gonna
Yeah.
cost you 3 times as much, but
Yeah.
it's rock solid, but. But we,
So we're just looking for a number right now, right?
We're just looking for a number for a placeholder for next year, and then permission if you wanna spend the other one this year for progress.
the only thing on this one here, I've never heard of Winco, so.
no, I've never,
Just the standalone Generac, Kohler, all those. So I'd just be concerned if that's quality generator, and what
Yeah.
you say.
I'd be more comfortable with the Kohler.
Who
Yeah.
makes
Okay,
it?
I just talked to Chris from Sherborne. He says the Winco here, they go up to 600 KW, so we're good. So, cause our portable's 100 KW, and that handles everything we have. So, we can get this generator for everyone that we need, different sizes. And this generator, so he's saying if he doesn't get the contract next year, this generator, anybody can work on. The Kohler's and the Onits, you have to call Onit and you have to call Cat to work on those generators, as far as boards and stuff, if you don't have somebody on contract.
Now, what's this have for an engine in it?
It's a GM, it's a GM motor.
Not sure about that. Does it stop at red lights and stuff when you stop the car?
No, it just goes straight through. It's non-stop.
Gotcha. All right.
So that's where we are with him.
I think if we'd have put 50 grand in as a placeholder,
I'll call him
here's
anytime.
43.
Anytime.
I'm sure it's gonna go up a little bit
Yeah.
next year, so I think if we put 50 in, we
Okay,
should be.
so next year, budget 50K
Yeah.
for a generator, okay, and then so that's the way we're gonna handle, it's just every year we'll put in for that, okay.
Yeah, that's
If
the
that,
easiest
if
thing.
that works, I mean.
And if
Yeah.
So
that
if
there will
you
handle
don't-
everything we need,
If
keep
I don't
everything
use
the
it,
same size.
it's just
and-
gonna roll over, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll use that one, cause if
Yeah.
you're gonna get on a plan to buy them, then let's just
Yeah,
do 'em.
yeah,
Spec out which ones and.
We'll check out the
knock
next
'em
one
off.
and-
Yeah. Which ones are teetering?
single phase generators.
So did you wanna go ahead and order the other one in this fiscal year for progress?
Do we have the money for it?
So we have so in the capital line item for fiscal '24, we had budgeted, I think 80-something thousand for 2 flight pumps, we always go with the highest pump.
So we got
Paul
it right
ordered a
there.
$4,000 pump, but we could definitely take it from there, and that's in the capital line item, so that's fine, we can do that.
Well, we got it covered, and do we have we got the grinder covered too, right? That's
Yes,
the 35, so we're all set for and just,
yes.
nothing goes wrong for 3 months.
So if you want to, but that's up to you guys, if you wanna do that.
Yeah, might as well. If that one is junk, might as well,
Yeah.
be, you know,
Aggressive, instead of spending $2,500, right?
Right, right.
Start now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're already
just
spent.
I'll wait till we do have a major storm and,
But then, like you guys are saying, you know, it's just as you keep putting that money in every
Yeah.
month, and it's, what if it dies next year, you know? Or now, it sounds like it's on its way
Well,
out.
we use 2,500 and we don't even know.
Every
what's
2 or
on.
3 weeks, we're buying a new generator down in Framingham anyway, so.
I started that
Guys
4
on
times
TV.
today.
Well, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to
Those two.
order a, generator for the Progress Ave
About
pump
every month.
station.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right. Old business, session on sewer garage?
Sorry.
Nothing right now. Oh, sorry, did you
Right,
still have
One
something to say?
more. So can you get us a, like a proposal for it?
Sure.
Because you had a range of costs.
Yeah,
If we
yeah,
can just get a, cause you guys know how big.
yeah, yeah, cause usually it's like we're packaging a lot of stuff into it, you know, water, wastewater,
Yeah.
treatment plants. So you're just collection system and pump stations, I think that might be, yeah.
Get it down to like 2022, we'll be in good shape.
So are we
49, just under a generator.
All right, we can negotiate from 49 to 22.
Are we budgeting anything in fiscal '25 for that 20% match, or 40% match, or not next year? Wait,
I wouldn't,
okay,
I don't know, yeah, I think we could probably find stuff in there if we had to, we really wanted to do it, but.
so hold off on that,
What do
we
you
don't worry
guys
about
think?
that in fiscal
Yeah,
'25. Okay.
You guys can, yeah, Nate,
Yeah, that's fine.
no?
Yeah. Discussion on sewer garage.
Nothing new.
Phase one,
See, they're cutting the trees.
phase
They
one
cut the
west.
trees.
Yeah.
Phase one west discussion, 95, 97 Westford Road Mobile, nothing?
No.
50 Westford,
Nope.
aye.
Yes, so at the last meeting, we talked about the wet season coming up and potential monitoring of I&I, and you asked me to talk to Colin about shift changes, if the guys were to go out and do the
Oh,
manhole
right, yep.
And what he did say about that was, if you did it as a one-time only thing, he could probably put together like a memorandum of agreement with the highway union. However, you also talked about me looking into the budget for overtime, if they did work their regular shifts and just did some, a few hours overtime at night. And we do have enough money left in the overtime. We have almost half of what we budgeted, and we're at the end of March now. So if they, and then I think Paul probably has some input into that.
Yeah, we talked, me and Doug had a discussion, so we don't mind if you want us to go out and pop in, it won't come at 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll just do a regular shift anyways.
So Fred wasn't here last time, we were talking about, how did we get to the INI,
'Cause-
the numbers we were looking at?
So
Oh,
Jack was
Jack
just
was saying
bringing it
that
up,
there was a couple of high spots or something, right?
Yeah, so here.
the flows, yeah, you have that?
You don't need the map yet, although the map is really hard to read, so, but this is a graph of your monthly flows in the blue line. I didn't go chasing all of your historical data, but the blue line you can see from early 22, you know, the flows were very low because it was very dry, so you had like 200,000 a month going to Drake it. And then in 23 it went up, and then it just kept raining, so it kind of stayed there. And then we had a lot of rain in January, and that's where you see it climbing at the end of the graph. I don't have any data past there. The little inset graph was just, I had a bunch of the fiscal year flows from Kathy on those blue lines, and you know, it's been fairly steady, although, you know, it's kind of gone up a little bit. The red orange color is just annual precipitation. The graph was fighting me, but it should have been on the side, but this year, actually I kept the wrong one. This year, in the last like 12 months, there's been like 60 inches of rainfall, and that's why I think we're seeing this spike, that there's just so much rain. And when we did the original metering was in 2018. You know, it looked like kind of maybe a normal amount of rain, but the flows were down a little bit. But we found some II, and that's what we repaired along with some structural repairs. I just think now that there's so much, you know, the groundwater levels are so much higher, that this January we saw some extreme periods or conditions, and that's why the flows were up. I know one of our sites, they exceeded their permit on 2 occasions in January because of that flow, so.
So the discussion was around potentially coming in the manhole, the pipes, basically around the pipes. That's why we're gonna look at manholes to see if that is the case.
See if it's coming in through the
And-
manhole, yeah.
And popping the manhole covers to see, you know, is this one, you know, there's two sewers coming in, you pop the cover and you see that most of it's coming from this way, so then chasing some of those. I was trying, I thought, knowing that it was gonna be wet, I was starting to think about it, and so we could plan for it, and I was thinking, oh, you do some metering like we did previously. But then when I started to look into it, it was, that's like an $80,000 program to get all the meters and deploy them like last time. So then it was how, you know, is there a more cost-effective way? And that's where the popping the manholes.
So I get the theory that you go out at night with low flow, and if you got high flow, but you could do the same thing during the day.
You can do some during the day, and actually in that other location, we're doing TV inspection tomorrow during the day because we couldn't line it up at night. It's just a matter of the users, yeah, and I think we did touch on that at last meeting, that if it's, because it's residential, it's
Everybody's
probably
either at
not as
work
bad
or
during the
at
day.
night, lower during the day, yeah.
Yeah, they're at work.
Yep, and you have a few at home, but that's,
That's.
like, you're looking for
We're
bigger
looking for significant
flows,
flow
yeah.
during the afternoon, or 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock,
And if it's coming in from the manhole itself,
you'll see it right
you're
there.
gonna see it no matter whether it's day or night.
Yeah, but it's manholes and it's the pipe, it's mainly kind of chasing it, but, you know, and also when you're out there, if it is raining, it's you're seeing that this is a manhole at a low point, oh, it looks like a stationary puddle, or it's at a low point, but it's, you know, it's going in through the cover, and we had that, right, on the phase 2, that
Yeah,
one manhole
yeah,
that we,
yeah.
yeah, so, any of those things can happen. But yeah, just trying to stay in front of it.
Is that the areas you want
So,
surveyed?
Dan, our project manager, he had highlighted on here there's green circles that were the high priority investigation areas, and then the pink ones were kind of like, if you have time, go to those. Yeah, I apologize, they're really small. Oh,
Yeah, this one.
here, Paul, I highlighted here on yellow.
Now I can see it,
Yeah,
awesome.
we have some young engineers that do this on PDF, so it's very
Oh, yeah.
easy for them to
Ask
see,
them
but
about it.
once it's printed, it's harder to see.
So, yeah, okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 areas that need to be looked at.
Yeah, and there's a couple in the back, this
So
printed
we're
double
over
sided.
here at Coven Road Pump Station
And
on
Dan,
Cypress Lane.
he picked those areas that didn't have pump station influence, because that was one of the challenges when they did the metering, when you had a bunch of pump stations coming into that collection area. So,
So we
it's
should,
not necessarily an end all be all, but it's
No,
like,
but
hey,
so
the
we
first
should
time
do
you
that.
go out, that's where you go, and
But it's,
See what
you're
you
looking,
find.
you're just looking at basically the gravity lines, right?
yeah.
How
Yep.
is he choosing what's high priority?
ask the question.
No,
Uh,
he's talking. How are you choosing what's high priority?
That's a good, that is a good question. I think that was based on flow,
Going through
flow
my
as
vision?
well as ease of not being influenced by pump station,
Okay.
based on the last effort, cause he was looking at the prior report. But some of it, I mean, having done a lot of that myself,
Yep.
you know, you get out there and it's kind of based on feel and observations, you know, you start popping a cover and you think it's gonna be coming from this side and you find out it's all coming from the other side, so then you pursue it. Or there's, you know, a little bit coming from everywhere, and it's like you can try to chase all three of those, or you can go to a different area and maybe there's an isolated source. It's all about finding the low hanging fruit when you're
Do I
out
take it
there.
you wanna participate?
What?
Do I take it you wanna participate?
We could,
You seem pretty excited about that. So Jeff, what?
I've done a lot of nights walking the streets with the police detail. It's a blast.
Walking the street.
Walking the streets, yes, I can see it.
Yeah, we did that the last time in Water
So
Street,
what
we
are
walked
you,
the streets.
you looking to do, you said yellow, but I don't see no
Oh,
yellow.
I highlighted
Green.
on his on
Yeah,
yellow so
special
you can
chat.
actually
Green
see
circles,
it.
it says high
Someone.
priority.
I'm just
You can just look at high priority. They're in boxes,
Yeah,
but it's little
here.
green
Just wanted
circles.
to
Oh,
be-
the other side.
there you
The
go,
other
got
side?
it, got it,
Most of them?
high priority.
Or these are pretty-
Yeah, this was
Little
kind of a
Uh,
map I got
okay.
later today, so I didn't have a chance to.
If you're on.
During the day, nighttime,
Yes.
during the day we can. well,
But yeah,
we
so
pretty
Brian,
easy
here,
problem.
those yellow
Put
highlights
the
are.
trucks in. Put the trucks in.
Okay.
So when would you like this to, next
So
week
next week's
sometime?
gonna rain a lot, right, you were saying?
Tomorrow, next week.
Supposed to rain Tuesday
Yeah.
night to Wednesday next week,
What-
again.
Yeah, I-
Monday's gonna be clean, sun, it doesn't matter if it's running
The-
water, it's
yeah,
gonna
the
be
ground's
running
so
no
wet,
matter
it's-
what.
it's gonna-
these days right now are really recharging it. Yeah, so you're
It's gonna
charged, and
run.
then that rain next week would be perfect to grab.
But, another thing I have, basement pumpers, I know we got them off the system, but a conversation how you were earlier,
Yeah, could
they,
they-
we take them off the system, I leave, they get water in their basement, it's going back onto the system.
Yeah, but we're talking lots of gallonage that we saw last in that report, and that's,
What are you talking,
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of
Well,
gallons?
well, that month, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah, it was way more
200,000
than
gallons
what
higher.
Would be a pump,
Yeah, yeah.
something.
But it's across, you know, a lot of areas. But yeah, every 5 or 10,000 gallons from a pump,
Adds up.
it adds up.
I guess.
But with the pumps, I mean,
Yeah,
they
Tuesday,
were,
Wednesday,
they were
Thursday.
rerouting them, correct? So it's not like if they get
Right.
water in the basement, they can still use their
Well,
pump, they're just rerouting it,
Well,
right?
basically, we have, there's more water that we've seen in a long, long time.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
people that weren't getting water, probably getting water.
That's wait, yeah, some pumps
So you're
should
saying
be.
maybe new people that want access, right, so it's.
Right.
Yeah, it's possible that you're getting some of that from other areas. But I think that was a lot of smoke testing, right? So that should tell you whether it was even if it wasn't pumping, the smoke testing should tell you.
Yeah, I mean, we have those.
So we, we'll engage.
But and the other thing, right, with II, like you never win. You're
No,
just
it's a-
always trying to keep it at bay.
I
Whack-a-mole,
I was told it was always a never-ending story.
Well, if you can find some big hitters, that's,
Inland Waters was in town, not this town, but they weren't drinking, just the other day.
Yeah.
So are any of these areas that we've already done?
Yeah, a lot of them, yeah,
All of them.
most of them. And that was the point, like sometimes they recommend that you go back and do all the validation that you've removed it, because you can line a pipe, and then maybe the groundwater table just kinda goes up, and it comes into that next point.
Are you doing this?
Dan Scott, who
Dan?
works with me, he's the one
So
who
he'll-
marked this out.
He'll coordinate that with Paul, try to figure it
Yeah,
out?
and I'm involved in it, yeah, between Dan and myself, we're coordinating.
So, yeah, I guess we can do it, I think we should, right?
We can start right at Cypress tomorrow. Oh, while I'm at the Colvin Road Pump Station, I can open it up. I believe that's the one that's on the property.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's the one right there that they just worked on.
yep.
Now, what about safety on the road? You gonna be doing this?
It looks like some of
That
them
one you can open,
pretty
yeah.
easy. 2 trucks, pop the manhole cover open, take a look.
Yeah, no, but you got drivers that are
So,
watching the phone.
I might need a
Okay.
detail
Well,
from
if-
Lakeview Ave.
I was gonna say, if you're doing it at night, absolutely.
Oh, at night, absolutely, yeah, during the day. This is it?
Yeah, and again, it's got the backside too. I mean, we can
Oh,
give it
now
to you in
it's
an
the backside?
easier to use format, so you can
now
actually
there's 2
find
more on the back.
things.
You didn't say there was a flip side.
Then there's another page. No.
I knew there were 2 pages of it,
Alright,
and I had
so-
it, I couldn't find it, and I was
Yeah,
like,
we'll
oh.
start this. I'll let you know, Jack, if we find anything, we'll do a couple tomorrow, just to get the feel.
Yep,
All right, work with, what's his name?
Dan.
Dan, and, report back.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Oh, Brian, I'm sorry, under I have a couple things for you to sign for the grant that we were just awarded for I capacity. I typed up some thank you notes to the senator and the representative for the grant. So if you could sign those.
Which is a good point, that the back is on the side that the grant covers, right?
Let's corner side, right.
Yeah. So definitely that's secondary. I was trying to
I
think
don't
of
know
a
if I want to
20%
send this,
match.
because he'll be looking for me to give a donation.
I'm trying to think of the 20% match on those grants, if there's in-kind services. I think
There is,
in the
there
federal,
was, yeah.
All right, Toll Brothers?
No, same as last time, yeah, they're working on getting the pumps, but I never got a
Toll
final
Brothers?
email from him, yeah, from,
Oh.
no, I'm sorry, from, yeah, Chris, and with the Heritage, the
What's
Village
going on with
Lane
flooding
pump
at Colton
station.
Road, is that good now, or, I mean, with all this rain, I thought they'd be screaming, right?
Toll was supposed to be doing some design,
Well, today, it didn't breach the road at all. Didn't breach the road the last storm either, so it's being held back by the swales that they got there. And of course, it drains full of leaves again, so it's not even making it across the road. They'll be out April 1st, which is Monday, to do the load test on the generator. So we can finalize the building as far as, getting rid of their portable, and we can run off our own generator, the new one in the building. Then I'm still waiting for them to shut the gas off in the street for the old building and shut the power off to the new building, the old building, because we've already started taking stuff out of it. Gas company came out and took the meter out, so we're not being charged for gas anymore, but they still have to shut it off on the street so they can knock the building down. And when that happens, once we're back on, get rid of the portable generator and we're on their generator, Lynch is supposed to come back, start doing the demo work and the wet well and keeping the cover there for the backup, and he's supposed to put in some retention ponds. That was the last conversation I had with Brian before he left.
All right, so, but so far, so good.
So far, so good.
yeah.
All right. Future sewer phases?
I have a letter for you to sign, it's the certification letter that's part of the grant that I'm working on right now.
You do a lot of work.
Won't thank you, sir.
That's what happens when you come late.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it on that?
Yep, things are plugging along unless
Yeah,
you have more
yeah,
updates.
we're just working away on our side, so same, and we'll do that site meeting
Just
at
did a
some point.
dry down this early.
What's going on development?
Nope.
Signature on updated regulation.
Okay, so as you know, you took a vote at the last meeting about adding that language in about the pool and all that, but, there's a page in the back that you all need to sign.
Oh, we get to sign too.
Yes, all of you. They're all important.
So, while we're signing, might as well start the administrator's report, 'cause that'll probably take about an hour.
So actually, it's gonna be short. I have meeting minutes for you to approve from March 14th, and I had emailed those out to you.
Alright, entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes for 3/14.
I'll second that.
No, you mean you're gonna make it?
I wasn't there.
Oh, right.
Alright, motion by Darrell, second by Fred, right? Approve the minutes?
See, yes.
So is that 2-0 and 1 abstain?
Yep.
Okay. And then I apologize, I don't have copies of those warrants, I'll bring them the next meeting. The day got away from me. I was working on it.
Really?
And that's all I have.
Alright, sewer administrators report. Senior foreman's report, I'm sorry.
Basically, we just discussed a lot of the stuff that we're gonna have on my report, but two things. We purchased some covers for Lakeview Ave, because the town's going to be paving, Lakeview Ave from Colburn Road intersection to the Drake at Mine. So I went out and assessed the covers, and I got 9 of them I'm replacing because they're broken and cracked. So we just buy the covers, they'll replace them, so when they repave the road. Had Todd from Bioxide down here for Parker Road for the odor control. Basically, he's got the system tweaked in and running properly. So the problem was, he was overloading the system and I was getting that greasy film, cause he was overloaded with Bioxide. He got that down, tweaked down, so I don't have very little of that. And we've gone from 400 parts per million with the odor to today it was only 9. Anything under 10 is perfect.
Wow.
So, and he's monitoring that from his laptop, and, cause he can pull it in. So we should be good. I said, we'll leave it the way it is till the warm weather gets here, then that's when you really tell. And, so it's been tweaked in, it's running properly now, so we should be able to control the odor situation down at the corner.
That's, you're talking Parker Lane,
Yes.
right?
That's all I have.
Correspondence?
No,
Well, we had a complaint, but it's already been addressed.
it's already been addressed, he came in, yes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you, good night.
In case you need it returning.
Still got that other homework I didn't open.
I was gonna quiz you, you know, if you picked up that thing on page 14, and